This is the International Arrivals Building, Kennedy Airport, with a big display board there.
Velocity down now to 1,200 feet per second. You're looking great.
This is Disneyland in California.
Okay, I'm still on flu, so we may tend to lose as we gradually pitch over. Let me try auto again now, see what happens. Roger.
He's talking about the high gain antenna.
Okay, looks like it's holding. Roger, we got good data.
Makes the job easier.
They're down to just 14 miles to go in 4.5 minutes.
7 minutes, 30 seconds into the burn.
4.5 minutes left in this era.
Altitude 16,300 feet.
Oh, boy.
This great the way the communications is working.
Descent to fuel to monitor, over. 72.
Altitude 13,005. Velocity
Going down
9,100
fast.
feet per second.
Made it, switch over time, please, you. Roger, stand by. You're looking great at 8 minutes.
Correction on that velocity, now reading 760 feet per second.
It's the P-64. Good.
760 feet per second on the way down. That's pretty slow for space flying.
It is. It's as slow as man has ever flown in space.
It sure is.
Fido says we're go, altitude 9,200 feet.
830, you're looking great.
They're just about
Descent rate 129
approaching
feet per
high
second.
gate.
We copy.
That's the 7,600 foot level. 1.4 miles high when they get down to a speed of 98 miles an hour, and they're just a little under 5 miles from the landing site. At that point, they can pitch forward, get a really good view of the
Eagle,
landing
you're looking
site.
great. Coming up 9 minutes.
That's that high
We're
gate.
now in the approach phase, everything looking good.
As they're inside the high
Altitude
gate.
5,200 feet.
5,200 feet, less than a mile from the moon's surface.
Manual attitude control is good. Roger, copy.
Altitude 4,200.
Houston, you're a go for landing, over.
Oh, great go.
Roger, understand. Go for landing. 3,000 feet. Copy. Alarm.
3,000 feet. Ooh. Well, they're landing, meaning they're on their spot, huh?
Roger, 1201 alarm. We're go. Same tide. We're go. 2,000 feet. 2,000 feet. Into the ag. 47 degrees. Roger. 47 degrees.
Just for these communications, too. We're getting this readout perfect.
Eagle looking great. Your go.
Altitude 1,600.
Oh, this is...
They've got a good look at their site now. This is the critical
1,400
time. If they're going to
feet,
hover,
still
they've got to
looking
make a decision. Apparently they're go,
Roger,
though.
1202. We copy it. 35 degrees. 35 degrees. 750. Coming down to 23. 700 feet, 21 down. 33 degrees.
Oh, the data's coming in beautifully.
100 feet down at 19. 540 feet down at 30. Down at 15. At 400 feet down at 9. Gate forward. 10 and 50 feet down at 4. 30 and a half down. They're pegged on horizontal velocity. 300 feet down, 3.5. 47 forward. Put up. On 1.5 down. 70. Epic shadow out there. 50 down at 2.5. 19 forward. Altitude, velocity, light. 3.5 down. 220 feet. 13 forward. 11 forward, coming down nicely. 200 feet. 4.5 down. 5.5 down. 160 feet. 6.5 down. 5.5 down. 9 forward. Good. 20 feet. 100 feet, 3.5 down, 9 forward. 5%. 185. Okay, 75 feet. Guys looking good, down a half. 6 forward.
60 seconds.
Lights on. 6. Down 2.5. Forward. Forward. Good. 40 feet down 2.5. Picking up some dust. 30 feet, 2.5 down. Straight shadow. 4 forward. 4 forward. Drift into the right a little. 20. Down a half.
30 seconds.
Forward. Just. Good. Okay. Contact light. Okay, engine stop. ACA at a descent. Both auto descent engine command override off. Engine arm on.
We're home.
413 is in.
Man on the moon.
We copy you down, Eagle.
Griffin,
Oh, jeez.
Tranquility Base here. The Eagle has landed.
Roger, Tranquility. We copy you on the ground. You got a bunch of guys about to turn blue. We're breathing again. Thanks a lot.
Ooh. Oh, boy.
Thank you.
You're looking good here.
Boy.
Okay, we're going to be busy for a minute. Master arm on. Take care of the descent. I'll get this stuff prepared.
Wally, say something. I'm speechless.
I'm just trying to hold on to my breath. That is really something.
Very smooth touchdown.
Kind of nice to be aboard on this one, isn't it?
You know, we've been wondering what this guy Armstrong or Aldrin would say. He stepped foot on the moon, which comes a little bit later now. And just to hear him do it, we're left here absolutely with dry mouths and speechless.
Hey, it looks like we're bending the oxidizer now.
Roger, Eagle, and you are stay for T1. Over. Eagle, you are stay for T1.
Roger.
And we
Sam, stay for T1.
Roger, and we see you venting the ox.
Roger.
It's a great simulation of what you can see there, if you could see us.
That little fly speck is supposed to be a lens.
Gee, they must be in a perfect position, upright. We've heard no complaints about their position.
Just
They
a one,
landed right in.
just a little dust. Even that concern was erased.
Wow. And there they sit on the moon. Just exactly nominal, wasn't it? Exactly as a flight plan all the way down. Man planning this thing on the surface of the Earth. My God. We're done.
You know, it's funny, too.
Copy,
This,
now 60, now 43. Over.
Roger, we have it.
Yes, sir. I read Columbia on the high gauge.
Roger, we ring you 5 by Columbia. He has landed Tranquility Base. Eagle is at Tranquility. Over.
It's interesting that they're referring to it as Tranquility Base.
Well, good show.
That was a confirmation to Columbia.
Stop reset.
and people have the audacity to say there's not much new going on these days. I think that one's erased for a long time.
I'd like to know what some of those kids
The
we
next
talked
major
to.
stay, no stay, will be for the T2 event. That is at 21 minutes, 26 seconds after initiation of powered descent.
Columbia went up telemetry command reset to reacquire on the high gain.
Copy out.
This is a 9-minute period that they have in which they could, under certain phasing conditions, take off again and make re-rendezvous within 2 orbits of the nominal.
Yes.
But they're not. They now have the stay for that period, so they're apparently not even considering leaving again at this time. They've
We
got
have
another.
an unofficial time for that touchdown of 102 hours, 45 minutes, 42 seconds, and we will update that.
Time which will be in the history books
Eagle
forever.
Houston, you loaded R2 wrong. We want 10254.
I'd like to know what those kids who are kind of poo-pooing this thing
Roger.
are saying right at this moment. I'd like to know what they thought in those moments when our mouths were in our throats. How can anybody turn off of a world like this? they had quite a bit of tolerance in that landing speed. They could have gotten up to almost 7 miles an hour, 6.8 miles an hour. The struts are made to withstand that. But they came in apparently right on.
Columbia, this is Houston, 1 minute 30 seconds to LOS. All systems go, over.
There you are, Minutedale. Okay. Get a little slack?
That line you see being fed out in our simulation by the man simulating Buzz Aldrin is the tether attached to the collar. It's used to lower and raise equipment to the spacecraft. It's called the LEC.
Neil Armstrong on the porch at 109 hours, 19 minutes, 16 seconds.
The 2 hours and 40 minutes of extravehicular activity, that is, of the walk on the moon, begins with the hatch opening.
You need more slack, Buzz? No, hold it just a minute. Okay.
That was at 10 hours, 10:40 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, so the 2 hours.
25 minutes of PLSS time expended now.
2 hours and 40 minutes, that would.
Okay, everything's nice and straight in here. Okay, can you pull the door open a little more? Right? Yeah. Okay.
I mean, they'd be inside and buttoned up again.
Did you get the main down? I'm going to pull it now.
At 1:20 a.m.
Houston, the Mesa came down, all right.
No, that's good.
Houston, Roger, we
Mesa
copy.
deployed.
Standing by for your
We ought to
TD.
get the camera then in a moment.
We're in trouble with the simulator. It did pretty well on the moon.
Yeah, this shows the Mesa being deployed. It's running a little bit behind in the simulation from the actual timing. He just pulls a lanyard up there
Houston,
that drops
this
the.
is Neil, radio check.
Neil, this is Houston, loud and clear. Break, break. Buzz, this is Houston. Radio check and verify TV circuit breaker in.
Now we should be getting that picture.
Roger, TV circuit breaker's in. Stage 5 clear.
Roger.
If we're going to get there, it is.
And we're getting a picture on the TV.
Oh, great.
There it is.
You got a good picture, huh?
There's a great deal of contrast in it, and currently it's upside down on our monitor, but we can make out a fair amount of detail.
Well,
400 million people are turning up on their heads at the moment with those words. They're supposed to turn that picture over for us electronically.
motion there.
The opening I ought to have on the camera.
Yeah, they turned it over now.
There's a foot coming down.
There it is. There's the foot coming down the steps.
Okay, Neil, we can see you coming down the ladder now.
Neil, we can see you coming. Okay, I just checked, getting back up to that first step. That isn't collapsed too far, but it's adequate to get back up.
Roger, we copy.
It's a pretty good little jump.
So there's the foot on the moon, stepping down on the moon. If he's testing that first step, he must be stepping down on the moon at this point. 10.
Buzz, this is Houston. F2, I'm at the 1/160th second for shadow photography on the sequence camera.
Okay. At the foot of the ladder, the limb footbeds are only depressed in the surface about 1 or 2 inches, although the surface appears to be very, very fine-grained as you get close to it. It's almost like a powder. Ground mass is very fine.
Boy, look at those pictures. Wow. It's a little shadowy, but he said he expected that in the shadow of the lunar module. Armstrong is on the moon.
Yeah,
Neil
step off the limb
Armstrong,
now.
38-year-old American, standing on the surface of the moon. On on this July 20th, 1969.
That's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
I think that was Neil's quote. I didn't understand it.
No, one small step for man, but I didn't get the second phrase. One of our monitors here at our space headquarters is able to hear that. We'd like to know what it was.
Surface is fine and powdery. I can pick it up loosely with my toe. It does adhere in fine layers, like powdered charcoal, to the sole and sides of my boot.
His quote was, that's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
I can see the footprints of my boots and the treads in the fine sandy particles.
Neil, this is Houston. We're copying.
Oh, thank you, television, for letting us watch this one.
Isn't this something? 240 miles, 1,000 miles out there in the moon, and we're seeing this.
There seems to be no difficulty in moving around as we suspected. It's even perhaps easier than the simulations of 16G that we performed in various simulations on the ground. Absolutely no trouble to walk around.
See, that's good news.
The descent engine did not leave a crater of any size. It has about 1 foot clearance on the ground. We're essentially on a very level place here. I can see some evidence of rays emanating from the descent engine, but very insignificant amount.
Good, hurry up and fix that simulation.
Now we're getting a negative picture back. Switch to negative polarity.
Are we ready to bring down the camera? I'm all ready. I think it's 2 miles squared away in good shape. Okay.
That's
Okay, you'll have to pay out all the LEC. That looks like it's coming out nice and evenly.
That's the equipment conveyor, that tether
Quite
line.
dark here in the shadow and a little hard for me to see it. I have good footing. I'll work my way over into the sunlight here without looking directly into the sun.
I don't know where in the Houston converter or where this picture has gone to negative polarity, but we hope we get it fixed shortly. At least we can make out the figure of Neil Armstrong there.
Unofficial time on the first step, 109.2420.
Okay, I think it's pulling the wrong one. I'm ready to pull it down now. There was still a little bit left in the... Okay, don't hold it quite so tight. Okay?
As we said, this is like a clothesline. So we bring down a sequence camera now for pictures, and then a little later on in the...
Looking up at the lamp, I'm standing directly in the shadow now, looking up at both in the windows. And I can see everything quite clearly. The light is sufficiently bright, backlighted into the front of the lamp, that everything is very clearly visible.
So man's first words, Neil Armstrong's first words, setting foot on the moon.
Okay, I'm going to be changing it.
That's one small step for man,
Okay.
one giant leap for mankind. He found the bottom step of the ladder slightly awry, but says it gives no difficulty in climbing back up to the lunar module when they complete this walk. He's found the surface far more powdery than they had anticipated. He's sinking in by about 1/8 of an inch. You see his footprints in the fine particles, lunar dust adhering to his boot. No difficulty in moving around, easier than the simulations on Earth. He has about 25 minutes of activity here alone on the moon's surface, testing the environment, moving around like this, taking a good look at the lunar module, which he's given us a check on. Seems to be in good shape. Very little scoring of the moon's surface by the descent propulsion system engine. The pads settled nicely, but not very deeply, into this fine powdery sand, or fine powdery surface of the moon. Apparently, it's in good position to provide the platform for takeoff, or we have heard something about that by now from him.
The surgeon says that
Camera installed on the RCU bracket.
the surgeon says the crew is doing well. Data is good. Crew is doing well.
I'm still in the LEC on the secondary strut.
That would seem to indicate that they're not overexerting, I gather.
That's good
Well, they're
news.
not
That's
using
right.
too much oxygen, and they're not big enough, too much heat for the cooling system.
Another one of our concerns erased, the fact that there isn't that much work, they're not
I'll
stressing.
step out and take some of my first pictures here.
He's got a Hasselblad camera looking now. I think that's the one that was lowered to him for still pictures. It's not the sequence camera, which I believe stays in the lunar module.
Roger, Neil, we're reading you loud and clear. Let's see, get some pictures and the contingency sample.
I think that the flight plan actually called for him to take the contingency sample first and then the pictures. As I recall all my reading of the plan up to now, the contingency sample went
35.5 minutes of PLSS time expended now.
too, that they're on a very level place there, which is good, and was partly because of his own skill in making that manual landing after it looked like they were coming down in a very rough area.
You know, it may be that Neil elected not to gather up a contingency sample because he feels there's no contingency here. He's showing great confidence that they'll do everything they intend to do.
Very well could be.
This is Houston. Did you copy about the contingency sample? Over.
All right, you're going to get to that just as soon as I finish these picture series.
Well, he kind of twisted the order around a little bit. You may be right, Wally, as to what's in his mind, because the contingency sample really is superfluous if they go on with the rest of the walk and get the full samples, the 100 pounds or so of rock, and the documented samples of rock, in which they identify rock by rock, where they got it, and picture where they got it, and all that sort of thing. Although Newell's kind of shaking his head there about that. I knew if Dash wants that contingency sample first, just like it said in the flight plan. Want to be sure you get that pocket full of surface rock.
Make sure we get something.
Right.
I have an idea we're going to get everything we want.
I wouldn't be surprised.
It's just going so beautifully.
The moving around and the exertion that they're showing in doing that, or that Neil's showing so far, is, of course, the great thing that they've learned already. And
Okay, you're going to get the contingency sample there. All right.
now Aldrin's is bugging for it. The man is going to get tired of those kibitzers in a minute and get them up to the contingency sample just to quiet them. Nag, nag, nag.
He stepped out of the field of view. I wonder what he's up to now.
Okay, the contingency sample is down and it's up sample.
Contingency sample.
It's a little difficult to dig through the initial crust. Very interesting. It's a very soft surface, but here and there where I've worked with the with the contingency sample collector, I run into very hard surface, but it appears